Kwekwe, welcome to the November edition of the MPI Breaks, where K is for Knowledge Share. I'm joining you from the cottage in Kingston as I enjoy the final few days of warmth, leaves, and river. Kingston remains on the ancestral homelands of the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and I offer our deepest gratitude to all the Indigenous peoples who continue to care for the unceded lands we call home. Miigwech. Before I jump into my knowledge share with Jeff Bond, Executive Director at Hopewell Eating Disorder Center of Ottawa, here are a few things we have coming this month with MPI Ottawa Chapter.
Hi, Courtney here, VP of Education. Just to remind you to be at the education event coming up November 26th at the Metcalf Hotel. Don't miss it. ABCs of RFPs.
Hi, I'm Emily McKay, your Director of Member Events. Make sure to check out on November 27th our Gingerbread Social at the Chateau Cartier. See you there.
Now onto my knowledge share with Jeff Bond around Hopewell, their mission, and how we can support. This conversation can be difficult, and I hope that the stigma around asking for help does not prevent anyone from reaching out to Hopewell or a similar organization if you feel like you can use additional resources or one of your loved ones can. For this month's breaks, Jeff is joined by his colleague Catherine Wangaski, Program Coordinator, to share knowledge about the Hopewell mission and how the meeting and event industry can support individuals with eating disorders. So thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for that warm intro. As we've talked about before, you and I, we live in a time where so many people around us are struggling with their relationship with food, with body image, and overall mental health. And often these struggles are hidden, carried in silence by colleagues, family, and friends. And yet they touch all of us, whether directly or indirectly. That's why conversations like this really do matter, because awareness and compassion can change lives. So we really appreciate this opportunity to be with you today, Bruce, and your membership.
Catherine, happy to have you with us as well.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited. We love these opportunities to share our mission and just touch on the topic a little bit more. It's a passion project of mine, so I'm very, very grateful to be here.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing those insights. And it always is a great way to frame the discussion that we're about to have. So, for those who may not be familiar, can you share a bit about Hopewell's mission and the impact your work has in the community?
Thank you, Bruce. I'll start with this one. So essentially, Hopewell is the only not-for-profit organization in Eastern Ontario providing community-based services for individuals affected by eating disorders. So that would be more the diagnosed eating disorder, but also we do a lot of work with those who would identify with disordered eating. So this is not a diagnosis. This is just in general, people who are just struggling with the relationship, as we said, with food, body, maybe exercise, and understanding that balance and healthy lifestyles that we're all seeking. Our deeper mission, though, goes a bit deeper, and that is around prevention and culture change. And that's something that has shifted for us in recent years. We recognize the value and importance of that work because it's just not happening in our community. So we're really working on trying to shift, doing that, shifting how people relate to food and body and self-worth, because we know there's a lot of dangerous messaging that is being received and sent around. And it's really hard to really appreciate what are the messages we should be receptive to and which ones should we push back against. So we're really recognizing our leadership role in this area, that we need to elevate. We need to do better, and we need to better connect with people like you and your membership so we're better equipped to push back. But more importantly, it's not just about protecting ourselves, it's about protecting the next generation. We know our kids are struggling. We need to protect them. We all need to play a role in that. And the only way we do that is by opening up the conversations and the dialogues and really engaging in meaningful conversations. So part of the work that we do, some of the key elements that we work in, or our services and support systems that we provide, include peer support groups, expressive arts and joyful movement programs and activities, as well as a lot of resource navigation, because we know navigating any sort of challenge is always a real challenge, right? It adds to that challenge and makes it really frustrating for people. So we try to be there for people when they're trying to navigate these complex systems. We also provide a lot of numerous social activities that help reduce the feelings of isolation and foster those connections. Hi, Miranda. That's amazing. So in terms of fostering connections, right? Those are really important elements in a person's life and their well-being and health, right? Along in their journey. We need those pieces. We need to, when people feel isolated, the risk goes up tremendously. The other really important program that we engage in, or services, is around community education and outreach. We do a lot of work in this area, including our flagship program called the Celebrate Everybody initiative, which is what you referenced earlier in the session, where we've relaunched this incredible program. And the idea is that we have evolved this program, although it's been in existence for a number of years, we've evolved it so that it's a training movement now. And this training movement is about equipping anybody who is interested in learning about these issues and topics, so that, again, we can build protective factors, not just for themselves, but their family and friends, and so that they can be better present, but also more aware and compassionate about the struggles that people are going through. And so that is our Celebrate Everybody. We're trying to make this program more available and accessible to everybody who is interested. And so those are some of the key programs.
Yeah. And as programs coordinator, this is the basis of what my days look like, is coordinating these things, managing them, and making sure that they're delivered in the best possible way. And for me, the biggest kind of crux, or the basis of what our programming functions on, is that community peer focus. Obviously, like with eating disorders, they can be very formal, very treatment based. But what we recognize is that a lot of the groundwork is done in the community, at home, amongst peers, people who are in your life. And that's really where we step in and create that safe environment of support, connection, like Jeff mentioned, reducing those feelings of isolation, and just feeling like you're not alone, because that's a very big role in the eating disorder, is making you feel alone, and like no one understands what you're going through, but that is simply not the case. So we are here to advocate for that, and to create those compassionate spaces for folks.
That's wonderful, and I think you touched on something that hadn't crossed my mind before, which is that point before it requires additional medical support or additional any kind of support, of that working with the community. And I think you said eating disorder and disordered eating, which is a distinction I hadn't heard before, but makes perfect sense as soon as you said that. So I'm wondering, what are other things you wish more people understood about eating disorders and the support needed for individuals and families affected by them?
Yeah. So first and foremost, eating disorders do not discriminate. They affect folks across all different age groups, genders, backgrounds. They're not just about food, even though that's in the title, in the diagnosis. It's not just about food. It is about mental health, identity, well-being, so many other areas. And because of that physical and mental connection, you can't get out of your head, you can't get away from your body. Eating disorders carry a lot of physical consequences with them. And that puts them at the second highest mortality rate across all mental health disorders. It's second to opioid addiction, substance use, but pretty high up on the list, which obviously showcases the intense need that exists. A lot of these people also, like I had mentioned earlier, with that isolation piece, feeling alone, a lot of people suffer in silence. A big piece of that is stigma and misunderstanding, which can lead to blame, shame, and isolation, like we've chatted about, ultimately leading to a person potentially not reaching out for help because they don't want to associate with these things. Some of these misunderstandings, there are a whole bunch. We know stigma runs rampant everywhere, structurally, institutionally, socially. Some of those things can touch on it eating disorders being a lifestyle choice. Dieting, going on diets is normal or expected. Eating disorders only affect white middle-class females. They're very focused in appearance. These are a lot of really core misconceptions of eating disorders that plague people's idea of what they can look like and who they can affect, which obviously streamlines into a bunch of different outcomes, which we are trying to advocate against, and, you know, support folks and meet them where they are. Also, up to 50% of folks in Canada have reported disordered eating behaviors. So not necessarily reaching that point of eating disorders, but half of Canadians are struggling with their relationship with food, body, and exercise, which is something really important that we should be touching on more. With that, only 1 in 10 folks actually receive the treatment that they need or the help that they need. This could be for a variety of reasons, like access to primary healthcare physicians. We know that's a struggle in Ontario, Canada right now. Cost of formal treatment, private treatment can be very expensive. And then wait lists for publicly funded programming. So a lot of people are struggling without recognition or immediate support, which again is what we're here to offer at the community level, at least. Provide like a nice safety net for folks to have those check-ins and those touch points, and then be there as a helping hand to help them find the places that they can access the appropriate treatment and support that they need. And also, with that being said, a whole other caveat of that is that families and caregivers also need support and resources, because eating disorder recovery advocacy is a team effort. It takes families, caregivers, it takes the community as a whole to be a part in the team. And that you know, translates to the person affected and all of that good stuff. So as a resource navigation center as well, we have a whole resource list on our website, as well as a treatment providers list with folks that specialize in eating disorder care. So that's us. We exist as that navigation center. There's also NEDIC, so the National Eating Disorder Information Center, which is Canada's federal, I think it's federal, but Canada's nationwide organization. They have a very, very comprehensive guide, all of the resources that you can imagine. They're amazing. They also have a helpline for caregivers and for folks individually affected by eating disorders. There's also the National Initiative for Eating Disorders. They focus a lot on advocacy and also education. And then there's various distress centers around Canada. There's Ottawa, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, so many. Just a few clicks online and you can touch base on those, or you can reach out to us and we can help you find those places.
And if I can add something, Bruce,
Yeah.
to that, I think what's really important is that, you know, we've been very fortunate to build this relationship with you and the MPI family, right, over the years. And the MPI, you know, as a collective have been such an important lifeline for our small organization, right? Your annual giving has been a true lifeline. It has kept us going. But also how you've been engaging with us in various ways, including Miranda, who popped in earlier for, volunteering, and others, and played such an important role in our ability to succeed in our community. And even though we have referenced that we serve the Eastern Ontario region, I just want to be clear that for your membership, recognizing that people are all across this country, I want everyone to hear that and recognize that Hopewell is here for you. We are here for you. You have made a commitment to us to make sure that we can succeed. We make that commitment in return to you and all of your people, that if you ever need us, if you ever struggle to find the resources or support that you need, we are here for you. We are on your side. We will help you. We will help you find those resources. Okay, so I just want everybody to know that you're never alone. We are here and we're ready to help you if needed. Please reach out. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I mean, I think I speak for the chapter, given the votes that we've had in the organizations that we support. It's pretty clear that we appreciate the work that you do for our community, and we appreciate to continue to support you. And especially when you share the stats, that I think we can understand the impact that an eating disorder can have, but realizing how strong of an impact doesn't necessarily always register. And so I wonder,
Correct.
as a final question, in about a minute or two, we're running a bit out of time, but how can us in the meeting and event industry support Hopewell in meaningful ways beyond fundraising?
Amazing. Great question, Bruce. And yes, I'll keep this one tight. So I think the first thing is I would really encourage everybody in your membership to get informed, right? Learn about eating disorders, use compassionate language, because your words and presence really do matter and they do shift thinking and community. So please take the time to get informed. Two, continue to be the advocate that you are. That is a powerful thing. So from that perspective, I would say continue to connect with Hopewell. And even if you are across the country and you're not sure how you can do that, just connect with us from social media aspect, from a starting point, right? That's a great way because Catherine does a lot of work in trying to send out good messages, proper messages, pieces of information, little bite-sized things to keep you informed about what's happening. And it might be a great way for you to just in little small pieces take in more information and awareness and knowledge, and perhaps that might be an entry point for you to learn other things. So I would encourage you to just get connected and share those messages. Those messages can be shared everywhere because they're powerful, right? They can change and shift our community, and we need advocates like you to do that work and to help keep moving that forward, and also help normalize the conversation. That's what's really important as well. The other is, we talked about funding, right? Like this MPI has been such an important, aspect for us in that area, but also volunteering. So like an organization like us, we're very small, right? And we have no government funding, we have no sustained funding. So every year we're having to find every single dollar to manage that year's budget. That starts over every year. But it also requires a team of people behind that. Catherine and I are the only paid staff members. So, but our team has probably 50, 60 people who work with us and support us on a regular basis. That is vital. But it doesn't mean you have to invest that much time either. If you don't have the time, it could be something as simple as sharing pieces of information on social media, right? Those things are advocating and pushing messages around that support us, but also support our community overall well-being. I think Catherine had a quick last note too.
Yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to us any further, we have a mailing list, which you can sign up for on our website. We also have all of our socials tagged on our website, so LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. All of that is a really good starting point for information, connecting with other folks in the community, and of course, support.
Great. Thank you both so much for joining me. And I'll repeat myself, as I mentioned from earlier, asking for help can be sensitive for some, but please do reach out to Oprah. Like Jeff mentioned, you're not alone. There are people here to support you. And yeah, it never hurts to get the information and to learn more. Thank you both very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and your community.
And there you go.
Merci de vous être joint à cette conversation. Le mois prochain, nous parlons de la relation possible entre commanditaires lorsqu'ils travaillent ensemble. Pour l'instant, je vous souhaite un bon mois de novembre. Bamapi!